If you tell me that they have been like waiting for each other for their whole lives and he has been like waiting for her, I will die. I have teared up multiple times. If I wanted to have like a full-on cry, I could have. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tori if you're new, and this weekend we're gonna be irresponsible and read Kindle Unlimited books. Technically it's not being irresponsible, these books are on my November TBR. It's just that my physical TBR books always stare at me menacingly, wanting my attention, and so when I give my attention to my Kindle books, I feel bad, guilty. Why am I like this? Two books that I'm hoping to read this weekend are Beyond the Aching Door by Victoria Meyer. This is a book that has been pitched as divine rivals mixed with A Dark and Drowning Tide. I have mentioned this book, it feels like a million times over the past couple months. It's a book that I have been meaning to read, have not been prioritizing, but I have read the first chapter just to like see what the writing style was like, feel it out. It was a vampathon option for me and immediately said, I'm coming back to this. I need to read this very, very soon because the writing was impeccable. And then the other one that I am dying to read is Peaches and Honey. That one is a shorter book and that one is Addie LaRue adjacent. Like, that sounds perfect for November. God gifts immortality to our female main character and then we get to follow her through like centuries or something like that. To start off though, I need to crochet. It's been a couple days since I've crocheted anything and I just went through a little like filming morning, editing a video that just went out today. I filmed my November TBR and did my November bullet journal. So now I just want to watch some Twitch streams and crochet in my fall sweater and celebrate the fact that it is November. Hi besties. We went to the park to read today and we are now 20% of the way into Beyond the Aching Door by Victoria Meyer. And I realized I didn't tell y'all like what this book was about yet, so let's do update and also summary for the book. So we are meeting up with our main character close to October. It's like the last couple days of September, and October is a rough time for her because she is grieving the disappearance of her dad. He isn't technically dead. Please say that he's dead. Her mom thinks he's dead, but he really just disappeared up and left very mysteriously out of the blue. Our main girly pop is a newspaper journalist, so she starts having to report on these very strange drownings, but people think it's a murderer, like a serial killer on the loose, because these people are drowning in puddles that are like yay deep. It is so odd. Like something or someone has to be doing this to them. She starts to get some connecting pieces. We're starting to learn a little bit more about her dad's disappearance, sort of. She thinks that they're connected. So her father was very deep into Celtic lore, fairy lore, all of these creatures, and so there's some connection with the Kelpie. I just love the mix between like fairy and urban fantasy because seemingly they wouldn't go together, but they do, and it's really reminding me of the setting of Wren in the Holly Library, because that book is also extremely urban, but then there's kind of this mix where it goes to another setting. I have a feeling that we're going to be jumping worlds in this book as well. I just love a murder mystery. Like, I love starting with that. It feels so intriguing. There's so many questions that we want answered that it's very easy to just fall into the story and want to know more. There was a couple quotes that I wanted to read. We also have a case of our main character like not knowing who she is. I have a feeling, and this is a complete presumption, I don't know anything at all about where the story is going, but I have a feeling she's like a secret princess or something because her dad disappeared, left all of these like notes and stuff like that. She's kind of picking up the pieces, but we've had some hints dropped that she's someone more important than like she ever thought she would be in this like secret world. So I wouldn't call this writing style overly wordy, but there are certain paragraphs that really just paint the picture really nicely, that are a little bit more lyrical. I don't know how to say Welsh/Gaelic words, and there are quite a few of them in here, so don't mind me. She says, "I greet you, Merenin, as I walk within your shadow and in your stead. For a moment the air thickened, the shadows grow oily and slippery. Something stretched, a door tried to open, and Reagan stopped breathing. The darkness around her turned to silk scarves, caressing her skin like a lover, so liquid and strange that she thought she might be going mad." Like, how beautiful is that? But not all of it is like that. You only get those little snippets of really beautiful writing in certain paragraphs, but for the most part, the first 20% has just been a ton of setup, so we're not getting a lot of that yet. However, I think if we do end up going to like a different setting, if we end up exploring a different world, which I hope that we will, I think we'll get more writing like that. But very strong start to this book so far. Of the way into this book, we finally meet the love interest, and honestly it was kind of worth the wait. Like, I feel the setup for this book, it did take a while, not in a bad way though. It was just like a lot to be built up, and now we don't even know the name of this love interest, like his actual name. They just call him the king. He's obviously the fairy king. Their meeting is so good, and I won't spoil anything. I just have to read this highlight. She feels like she has been like looking for this man for her whole entire life. For whatever reason, we don't know. They shake hands, and it says, "Electricity flooded her body, and outside a birdsong crescendoed. Like everything the bards used to sing about had fallen into place. Like this was the very moment the gods had been waiting for all along." It's so epic. So epic. He has dark hair and ocean eyes. Please. For the barest of moments, probably when he thought she would not notice, the king's expression softened, and Reagan saw something other than cool detachment. There was a haunted sort of longing in his gaze, as if he desperately wanted something he knew he couldn't have. If you tell me that they have been like waiting for each other for their whole lives, and he has been like waiting for her, I will die. 25% we have some updates on Beyond the Aching Door. Also, if you see me wearing my overstimulated sweatshirt like a million bajillion times in all of my vlogs recently, it's because it's my newest hyperfixation and I'm like literally obsessed with it and I can't stop wearing it and it's so comfy and it's my favorite thing in the whole world. I also really want to get some other sweatshirts from this Etsy store. There's one that says like anxious, that like they have just so many and they're all absolutely amazing. So anyways, don't judge me for wearing the same sweatshirt a million times. We are officially halfway through Beyond the Aching Door. And last night I was hitting a place in the book and in my reading mood where I really wasn't sure if I wanted to continue with it. This morning I did read a little bit more. Last night I stopped at like 42% and then this morning I continued to, I think, a little bit past the 50% mark. I'm most interested to continue because I'm very, very curious about this like star-crossed lovers, fated love trope that's in here because I usually tend to like stories like that. The things that were irritating me last night were our main character Reagan. From the first like 30% where we knew her, it felt like her character kind of shifted. She became extremely annoying. And I think it was to promote like banter between her and our male love interest, but they could have had good banter without her being just like so purposefully annoying. And the other part of her character, like in the beginning, she really didn't swear that much. She was delightfully curious. She was trying to learn more, obviously, about like her dad, about this like fairy world, all of those things. And then it transitioned to when she was finding out these answers and being able to explore that a little bit more. She just started like swearing all the time and being a very different person almost. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, why is this happening? I don't really understand how her character had this transition. So that was a little bit odd and off-putting. The other thing that I find more frustrating from what the author has done with the story, I'm hoping that as we get into the second half of this book, things change a little bit, but everything is so convenient. And I can deal with that to a certain point. Like, it typically doesn't bother me in books. Once she like starts to be able to find out more about this fairy world, find out more about her dad, the travel in the book so far has been so convenient because they just like portal wherever they need to go. Oh, we need to get here, let's portal. We need to get here, let's portal. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like a well-earned journey for information. So it feels unearned, I guess. Like, this knowledge just feels very unearned. It feels like a big knowledge dump. And also for halfway through the book, I don't feel like we've really learned a lot. I think right when we got to the 50% mark, things started to get interesting to the point where I was like, okay, I do want to stick with this and see, just like see what happens next. I'm not fully convinced that when I get to the 75% mark, I might DNF the book. Very mixed feelings, as you can probably tell. I'm excited to continue with it. I hope to finish it today. And I keep thinking about Peaches and Honey. Like, I really want to get to Peaches and Honey in this vlog, so I might extend it. Today's Sunday. I might extend this vlog to Monday to see if we can squeeze in and finish Peaches and Honey. That is the reading update so far. I'm not gonna lie, I have an overwhelming urge to try to learn a new granny square today. It's the granny square I think I'm gonna do for my genre blanket next year. So I want to get some practice with it to see if I like it. But I'm like, no, we have to read. It's just the battle of the cozy hobbies, to be honest. I have been like so into crocheting, and I think the thing is I don't have audiobooks. I don't think there are audiobooks for Beyond the Aching Door or Peaches and Honey. If there were, I would be a crocheting queen in this vlog. I think lately, because I've been reading a lot more Kindle Unlimited books that don't have audiobooks, I've been like, okay, no, I do need to sit down and read because I want to read this book and I'm curious in this book. I have to put my other cozy hobbies on hold. This is such a side tangent, but thank y'all for letting me include my other cozy hobbies in vlogs lately. I know it's been a mix of like some gaming sometimes, a lot of crocheting recently, along with reading. It's just so fun to discover like new cozy hobbies. And honestly, I learned about crocheting through a couple people in like our little community, and also through Steph's Patreon, and it's just been so fun. Like I love, obviously, like I love reading so much. That is the foundation of this channel, but I just really appreciate y'all letting me incorporate some of my other like cozy hobbies into these vlogs, because crocheting is really bringing me so much joy, and I know that some of y'all do it too, like crocheting, knitting. I know that a lot of people knit genre blankets and stuff like that, so I'm very excited for that journey next year. I think it'll be really fun. I want to do some reels on Instagram that are like progressions of my genre blanket. I think that would be so fun. So anyways, I'm just very grateful that y'all allow me to explore some other cozy interests on here in addition to our wonderful reading community. So thank you. So anyways, I'm gonna stop being corny now. Just FYI, we are in the same spots as we were yesterday to continue reading. He's been my little reading snuggle buddy lately. You guys, it never rains here. Like when I say, I mean, I live in Arizona. You already know it's the desert. It literally never rains. The past 2 days, last night and then right now, it's raining. Okay, the thing about me is I never say the S word, slump, but I really think that this past summer and really up until I would say like October, so probably from like July through September, I think I was in a reading slump and I wasn't allowing myself to admit it. Gaslight and gatekeep, that is my method for reading slumps. But with how much fun I had reading in October, it really made me reflect on, I was definitely in a reading slump for those past couple months. And I just feel like, especially during Vampathon, I think I mentioned this, I had so much fun reading those books and I felt like my reading mojo was coming back to me. And then I just feel like these first couple days of November, even reading Beyond the Aching Door, which has had like its ups and downs for me, it's been a little bit of mixed feelings. One of my favorite things in the whole entire world is reading while it is raining outside. Raining and snowing, but like obviously it doesn't snow here either, but it does rain very occasionally. I feel like this is a sign of me coming out of my reading slump that I was in denial about and just like having an amazing time with books again. And now I get to read while it's raining out. Literally, I sat down to read and it started raining outside. Tell me that's not manifestation. I've read another 75 pages. I don't know if it's enough for me to want to keep going. I feel like their travel scenes continue to lose me because we spend so much time traveling from place to place. I lose interest. Like I've started skimming those parts because it's all of this description of places that like don't really matter because it's in between two scenes. And so I'm not super into those. And then the relationship between these two, like my curiosity is fading a little bit. Camera battery died, so if the angle's slightly different, that's why. I feel like this is a writing style where if you enjoyed To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah Parker, you would really enjoy these books because the suspense is in all of this information that the reader doesn't know. In the beginning it was working for me, but now that we're 65% of the way through the book and I feel like we still don't know anything, I get to a point with writing styles like this where I just don't care anymore. Like you have to have a big reveal to like really suck me back in. It's just not my favorite thing in the whole world. It didn't work for me in the Tabulita Crystal Bloom series, and I don't think it's working for me with this book, unfortunately. We've read like almost 400 pages of this book, so we're so close, but I just, when I start skimming in a book, like that's when I know. So I think we're gonna switch to Peaches and Honey. We're gonna try a couple chapters of that one and see how it goes for us. I'm really disappointed. I think that Peaches and Honey, I'm not gonna say a 5-star prediction, but I do think it could be at least a 4-star. We just have to see about the like writing style. So I will check in once we have read a little bit of Peaches and Honey. We have amazing news. We are 50% into Peaches and Honey. I was terrified of giving an update before I reached the halfway point because of what happened with Beyond the Aching Door. Like that one had such a strong start and then fizzled. So this one I said, we're reading to 50% and seeing how we feel. And I'm obsessed. It's so Addie LaRue coded, but it feels fresh and new because of the way she's granted immortality. But it feels like a very different story. So we follow our main character, Anna. We meet her in England in the 1100s. She gets granted immortality by eating this enchanted peach. And then her shape-shifting god that offered this gift to her, gift or curse, depending on how you look at it, follows her throughout the years, and their stories are definitely intertwined, but he gives her a lot of space to like live her immortality the way that she so chooses, and learning different lessons, whether they're, well, most of them are hard. I was gonna say whether they're hard or easy, but they're all pretty hard, to be quite honest. And I love their interactions together. We are 500 years into this story together. Actually 600, because we just got to like the 1700s. And I just love stories like this, but it's so emotional. It's so heartbreaking the way that Anna has such a good heart and a good soul. She's so kind. I think that the nameless god, I think he goes by Kieran. That's the name that he presented to Anna when she asked for a name of like, well, how do you like to identify yourself? And he said Kieran. So kind, and Kieran described her as Anna the Benevolent, because even though these lessons are so hard, and even though as an immortal you don't want to get close to people because you're gonna watch your loved ones, you're gonna outlive your loved ones, essentially. It's crazy to see, especially in a context like this book where history is punctuated by so many horrible, awful, nightmarish things. And Kieran has reminded her that there is good in the bad, and there's gonna be periods where you have to appreciate the beauty of something before the next like nightmare happens. But it's really making humanity just seem awful, to be honest, and Anna is the only light in the world of this humanity. Like there's people who haven't treated her with kindness, there's people that have turned against her. Humankind kind of sucks a lot, and so I'm waiting for the book to turn and show us like, no, it doesn't suck all the time. Like there are really beautiful moments. And not to say, we have gotten a couple of those. However, because it's Anna and because she's immortal, even though she has these really heartwarming, precious moments, it ends with like a very bittersweet ending because of her immortality. And I don't want to like say too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm loving this book. I'm loving the emotional impact that it has. I have teared up multiple times. If I wanted to have like a full-on cry, I could have, but this morning I like did some light makeup and I was like, I will not be ruining my mascara because I have to log into work later. So 50% of the way in, I feel like this book is reading so fast. It's so wonderful. I think I'm gonna order the physical copy off of Amazon because I just like want this trophy book for my shelves. There is a second book in the series. Wasn't on the TBR plans for November, but if it's a book that I'm going to be obsessed with, like I am fine straying off of the TBR. Like we're here to read and have a good time. I'm just sitting down to read again, but I have to mention there are these little snippets before we start a chapter in Peaches and Honey. Also, I have officially ordered the trophy books, and I ordered the second book as well. I forgot to turn my doot-doots off. There's these little previews before the chapters where like you really don't know what's going on, but it gives you like a little snippet, and I'm obsessed with them because they're all from Kieran's like POV for the most part of like how he's feeling about something. Hold on. Listen to this one. It's so, I can't wait to read this chapter. When he finds her in the middle of the ocean aboard a pirate captain's ship, he expects to find her trapped there. Nothing could have prepared him to see her with her hair unbound, with the wind and the salt playing with the soft curls. Freedom looks good on her. I'm freaking obsessed. Also, I'm sorry if my camera looks like so overexposed. I don't know what's happening. I told you that this book was 5 stars? What if I told you? What if I told you that I was literally on the verge of tears all towards the end of that book? Thank the reading gods that the second book has already been released, because I will be reading that immediately. I'm obsessed. If you want your heart ripped out, read this book. If you like historical fantasy, I think that you will really like this book because it does take place in our real world. It goes throughout our actual timeline, and it uses very big historical moments to structure our story of what our characters go through. It is so beautiful. It makes me want to reread Addie LaRue, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't have to because I have a second book to jump into, and we get a massive cliffhanger at the end. I think I really enjoyed how this first book was mostly Anna's journey. Like, we really get to see her life as she transitions from being human to her immortality and experiencing all of these things and kind of like discovering her purpose of what she can offer the world with her like immortality, like basically magical ability of not being able to die. Incredible, so emotional, so impactful. And then right at the end is when you start to get a little bit more of romance. I would say like 75% of this book is about just Anna and her journey, and then right at the end your heart gets even more like clinched from this romance. I'm obsessed. I need to know, like I just need to know. So make sure you follow me on Goodreads because I will be reviewing this book. I will be reviewing the next book. I don't know if I'm going to include the next book in this series in a vlog, because next up on the docket is to film my reading my entire physical TBR before the end of the year, episode 3. But the way I need to read the second book, I'm so happy that I ordered the physical copies already. Love that for us. Thanks so much for watching, besties. If you've made it to this point, please leave a little peach emoji in the comments down below if you'd like to let me know that you were here. I will catch you in the comments, and I will see you in my next one. Toodles.